Coming up today on This Is True Really News,
Stuff?
Babahoyo.
Babahoyo. Yeah,
Not a Hoya, a Hoyo.
Hi-oh.
Yes.
Silver.
Babahoyo,
Silver.
I think. And it's Hayo Silver.
Like a dog with a bone.
So, if you like the idea of Babahoyo, stick around. Also, there's more to come. We do shows nearly every day. So, like, subscribe, and polish. Like, subscribe, and finish. Like, subscribe, and Swedish. Nope. This is how my brain works. Like, subscribe, and follow. This is True Really News. And if you find a story that you think is weird enough for us to handle, send it off to...
And even if you don't think it's weird enough for us to handle, go ahead.
Just send it over.
Sure.
TITR@netradio.network.
This is True Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true,
Really?
as far as you know.
So, yeah. In Japan, did you know why Northwest Orient got its name Northwest Orient?
Because I thought it used to fly to Japan.
It did. The reason it became Northwest Orient is because it was so popular flying to the east, because it had, at its first moment of crisis, right? It's like, if we don't get more routes. Back then, the government heavily regulated the airline industry.
Okay.
So you went to the government and had to prove why your route would be more advantageous than someone else's.
All right.
So they get the route to Seattle. And then they go before the government folks and say, hey, we should really go to Japan, because taking off from Seattle will take 4 hours off the trip. And it did. And ever since that point, they were Northwest Orient, Gong.
Wow.
Airlines.
Yeah.
See, Lost Twin Cities is cool.
Yeah, it is.
And if you watch the first two, it's Dave Moore narrating. So that's kind of...
Oh, that's so sweet. He was my neighbor.
I heard that voice and I said, no. I didn't think it was, but it was.
Yeah.
And then Don Shelby fixed it up. So it's like there's a trail there you can see.
There you go.
Pat Miles' turn. In Japan,
Right?
Sorry, that's real inside baseball. I apologize. You'd have to check CBS Channel 4 in Minneapolis to get all the... Yeah. In Japan, do you know Nancy Nelson? She was a local actress. She did a lot of TV stuff.
Oh, yeah, tons.
Didn't Nancy do one of those afternoon fun shows with somebody, too?
Yeah, and her husband was on
Steve
TV,
Edelman.
too. Was it Steve Edelman?
Wasn't it Edelman? No, I forget.
No, it was
anyway,
Edelman and Sharon somebody.
She had a little bitty part in airport. She was an insurance salesman in one of the kiosks.
Oh, how cute.
Sure. Meanwhile, in Japan, where Northwest Orient could fly, it's Delta now, so no one cares.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, really, literally,
Nobody cares.
In Japan, people who were just being freed from COVID mask-wearing mandates feel that they have lost their ability to do a very simple thing. Smile.
What? How does this have to do with an airline? I almost said a hairline.
No. It's in Japan. The people no longer have to wear the mask because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
And they feel they've lost their ability now to smile.
Seriously?
I feel they've lost brain cells, but that's another story.
I tend to agree.
According to Sky News, 20-year-old Himawari Yoshida, among many others, has enlisted the help of and I quote this, smile instructor, Kiko Kawano. Oh, go ahead. Let that sink in for a minute. I'm going to take a slurp of coffee.
Smile instructor.
Yep. According to young
And
Mr.
anytime you get it wrong, 50 push-ups. Runs it like a dojo.
What's this? That's not my smile. That's my smile upside down. It's a frown. According to Yoshida, this is the 20-year-old who feels that forgotten how to smile. I hadn't used my facial muscles much during COVID. So one-on-one sessions with Kawano, if you're wondering, cost about $55. per session. If you want to save that money, let me help you out. Kawano has students stretch the sides of their mouths and then holds up a mirror to smile into. $55 a session. According to the instructor, Kawano, culturally, a smile signifies that I'm not holding a gun and I'm not a threat to you.
Unless I like holding a gun and threatening you.
So all the girls I've ever smiled at,
Yeah.
all they took away from that was,
I'm
wow,
not holding a gun.
and he's not a threat. No wonder
And they like the bad boys, Tony. This is just the way it goes.
I know.
A hospital doctor in the city of Babahoyo declared Bella Montoya, 76, dead following a suspected stroke. She was placed in a coffin and taken to a funeral parlor where relatives held a vigil before her planned burial.
Oh, no.
After almost 5 hours, they opened the coffin to change her clothes.
Why?
They were going to change the clothes for the burial. I guess the viewing was one thing, the burial was another.
What, you go from viewing wear to...
Yeah. Well, you got to wear a couple different outfits at your funeral.
Huh.
The woman then gasped for air. Those gathered gasped in surprise.
You think?
Minutes later, firefighters arrive and lift Bella Montoya onto a stretcher and take her back to the hospital where she had been declared dead. Because you guys got this wrong. You want to kind of reconsider your finding here?
Pretty sure dead people don't gasp.
Bella Montoya is not the only person to come alive after being officially declared dead. Last February, an 82-year-old woman was found to be breathing while lying at a funeral home in New York State. She'd been pronounced dead 3 hours earlier at a nursing home. Dr. Stuart Hughes, a senior lecturer in medicine at Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge, says such cases are very uncommon, but he points out that death is a process. Sometimes somebody may look like they're dead, but they're not quite dead yet.
Oh, I'm having a Monty Python flashback. This can't be good.
They could be only mostly dead. Ecuador's health ministry had set up a committee to investigate the incident. Miracle Max has been contacted. Look at you. Billy Crystal grabbed his hat and he's headed there.
What was that from?
Princess Bride.
No, not the You're Almost Dead.
Yeah, turns out he's only.
I thought that was Monty
dead.
Python.
No,
remember?
that's Princess Bride.
She's a duck.
No.
Wood floats.
She weighs as much as a duck. Then she's a witch. Burn her.
If she floats and wood floats, she's a witch.
What else floats? Little tiny pebbles. What? They put this nose on me. Oh yeah, we did that.
Really? That was Princess Bride too?
Yeah, the only mostly dead's Miracle Max.
I know that part's from Miracle Max.
Okay.
From Princess Bride.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the part where they bring the old guy out during the plague scene.
I'm not dead yet.
Yes, you are. I'm not. You're almost dead. Listen, he's almost dead. Could you? Wank.
Feel like taking a walk. Shut up. You're not fooling anyone.
Oh, death can be so funny. I apologize to anyone who is at this moment mourning. I really do.
Yeah. Well, you know.
So as long as you had a weird thing. So when you don't get the respect you deserve, especially from your family, you get kind of crabby and want to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there are things you could do. You could make an effort to treat your relatives better. Maybe show up at more family things.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could, I don't know, fake your death.
Yep.
Fake your death. No, don't do that, you moron.
Sorry, I was just trying to get along.
That was the approach that David Berton, a silly Belgian, also known as TikToker Ragnar LeFou, took. Ragnar LeFou, F-O-U, Fou, right?
Oh, foul?
Ragnar LeFou. When the 45-year-old, let's go with Berton. When the 45-year-old Berton felt, because TikToker Ragnar would be better than the LeFou part.
Yeah.
When the 45-year-old felt his family did not want him around anymore, he decided to show them what's what and show them what it would be like if he had died. As is tradition, his family organized a funeral. That's what you do when someone dies.
Lots of times.
It was a real one for their supposedly dead relative.
Okay.
Ceremony took a bit of a bizarre twist, though, when Burton dropped in by helicopter. Yeah.
He's got more money than he knows what to do with, doesn't he?
Or time.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, the man says his outlandish stunt actually has improved his relationship with his family and brought even some distant relatives back into contact with him. Yet he says he regrets putting them through everything, says he wouldn't do it again, which, of course, leads to the burning question, why do it the first time, you moron?
And who's going to show up at the second one? He is just not dead yet.
You're not fooling anybody. Burton, by the way, has been polite enough not to disclose exactly how he managed to fool his family into believing he was dead. And I think everyone agrees that's probably best, that it doesn't get into the public domain, because that would be grisly. Burton said that only his wife was in on the prank. Not even his kids knew about this.
Oh, that's just mean.
His wife had begged him not to go through with it, but he was undeterred. It's a master plan, and he's going to do it. On his Facebook, his daughter wrote, "Rest in peace, Daddy. I will never stop thinking about you. Why is life so unfair?" See, if I'm his daughter, I would beat him to death with a cast iron pot right there.
Wait till he goes to sleep.
Burton did eventually come clean.
The first one's going to wake him up, and then the rest of them are going to do him in.
Burton did eventually come clean to his children, but only because a film crew told him to. Well, you have to have this, recorded for posterity. He wanted to hire a production team to film his arrival at the funeral, but they agreed to do it only if he told the truth to his immediate family. So he did. I mean, come on, he's got some principles.
Apparently, they have to be coerced out of him.
Yeah. His funeral in Liege was an appropriately somber affair until the helicopter appeared over the graveyard, landed, and out the door came waltzing the star of our show, the dead man. A little bit more alive than his family expected. He greeted everyone.
Seems spry for a dead guy.
He greeted everyone. "Cheers to you all. Welcome to my funeral." Now, at this point, if it was my family, I'd be torn limb from limb and be dead anyway.
Yeah, they'd break out their hockey sticks.
Although some were a little furious. A little furious.
I might be.
Overall, everyone seemed genuinely relieved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They crowded around him, gave him hugs. Even the upset ones, in general, the reaction was surprisingly, to me, positive. The response seems to have made Burton understand that he crossed a line. This is what it took. He said he regretted the stunt as soon as he stepped out of the helicopter. He admits that as soon as I started receiving messages from people and videos of them crying, I wished I could just cancel the whole thing, but it was too late. No, it wasn't.
You could have jumped out of the helicopter and just, to fit in with the whole milieu.
My favorite quote from TikTok Ragnar. I'm sorry to all the people I hurt. I hate hurting people. What did you expect? You bozo. He's probably somewhat all right with the results, though. After all, he got what he wanted. According to him, those who didn't come to the funeral even contacted me to meet up. His family around him has started to get in touch with him again. So, in a way, he said, I did win.
Well, let's see how long this lasts.
Oh, in the year 25.
Workplace rules. I have 3 workplace rules for you. You remember we always had rules when we were at our workplaces. Certainly.
Very few, but go ahead.
Yeah, and they told us
we had good bosses.
They told us to stop having rubber band gunfights in the...
Okay, that was... I thought uncalled for, but...
Yeah, me too.
I mean, because Marvel was the best at them.
At my old job, HR held a meeting to tell us there was too much swearing on the sales floor. Huh? Well, shut up. Someone raised their hand and pointed out that swearing is very common in our industry, and that's the way our customers speak. What did HR do with this information?
Nothing.
They sent out a memo.
Of course they did.
Explaining that swearing should be limited to conversations with clients.
I legitimately don't know what to do with that.
Honest to God. If you were stuck in traffic on the way to work, you're required to email the CEO. phone calls and texts are not permitted, only email. If you're stuck in traffic. So I'm guessing this is a very small company.
Yes.
I can remember guys being missing at net radio and they didn't even tell me till later. Called
When
up
they
later
showed
in the
up
day. Yeah.
the next day.
Here's why I was gone.
Exactly. Did
Finally.
we have a bird?
What?
I said, we didn't have a bird. No, we accepted it. They were adults. They had reasons.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Pete's reasons were some of the best.
Always the best. Was it
Someday we should
snowmobiling?
do that story. He went snowmobiling the day his wife was giving birth.
Yeah.
And she hauled him into a reality show on the East Coast.
And shared the story.
And he had to eat the fish pie in the face.
Well, that seems fair.
I used to work at a place in which my boss implemented a no more than 2 glasses a day water policy. I ignored this rule.
Bring big glass.
Yeah, and complained directly to our CEO, and the matter ended later that day. The weird part was the majority of people just followed the rule, and some complained to HR about my breaking the rules. Right?
I don't know what to do with that.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.